everybody, and welcome to some more Osumania 4 Key World Cup 2022 action. We've got our final losers bracket match here. Philippines versus the United States of America in this top 4 match, looking for the final spot in that top 3 spot to join South Korea and Brazil for the podium placements. Both of these teams having won a match earlier on in this weekend. United States besting Malaysia earlier today. Philippines doing the same to Japan. One of these teams will come out a victor. One of these teams will come out in the top 3 position, but an exciting match to come up. I am Toph Daddy, joined by Sparky. How's it going?
It's going absolutely fantastic. This weekend has lived up to the billing. Some very exciting matches to start this weekend off on the right foot, and oh boy, what a way to kick off what is going to be Sunday for a lot of people. Very explosive matchup between the United States and the Philippines, like you were saying.
It's Sunday for me too. It's Sunday for most people at this point. I'm in the United States as well, but we got that -4 being midnight right now. We're hitting the Sunday just now. We have a double SV ban coming out from these two teams, Philippines and the United States, getting rid of both the SV picks right away. We're having a pure rice, long note, and hybrid match here. Very exciting to see. I am so interested to see how this goes. Philippines absolutely putting on a show against Japan. United States eking out off of the break point on a hybrid against Malaysia, but United States going immediately into real ultimate power. The map banned against them by the Malaysian squad, and we'll finally get an opportunity to see how they can perform.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like that match against Malaysia was really the truest test of the mettle of this United States roster. Missing a couple of their players during that match and having to rely on some of the players that I don't think people would have expected to come in to fill in some of the shoes and really put on the performance. And the Philippines just taking Japan to task to get them here, only losing on that SV pick if folks were following along earlier today. So both these teams should be very evenly matched up. I feel like we might devolve into a bit of a LN Rice dichotomy where one might lean on the LNs a little bit to get their points and one might lean on the Rice. But that being said, the overlap between these two countries, there's basically none as we get into this first map.
We could definitely see that. I would not be surprised at all to see that kind of dichotomy coming out, especially in a match against the United States. We've seen pretty much every single match divulge into the United States picking Rice and trying to fend off any attacks when it comes to the long notes and hybrids. It's the only reason they managed to take victory against Malaysia. Philippines, on the other hand, have been able to take both Rice and long note points very convincingly against their previous opponents. But we'll have to see how that goes with this first pick. Real ultimate power, this intro faring pretty well for both teams. OG above the 99.9s, both of the other two above 99.8. But the United States players staying a little bit more consistent overall in the accuracy, but this lead not very big out of this intro.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like this is going to be about as close of a battle as they can get, but Silhouette Scout is finding first drop here going into the second quarter of the map, and that's going to hand over the lead to the United States for the time being. It's not a long map by any stretch of the imagination. 4Ken finding another break to boot, so only one FC left on the side of the Philippines to the 3 of the United States for this first map.
Yeah, we're already halfway through, and we're seeing about a 20,000 point lead for the United States. 4Ken trying to build up back to the 400 combo mark, but all 3 players on the side of the United States pulling that full combo. Midder, Tristan, Jacob, and Dev, but Midder does find a drop, but 4Ken trades it right back as we keep the United States in the lead, especially with that accuracy advantage coming out, especially, Silhouette Els and 4Ken both dropping low 99 range. All 3 United States players holding extremely strong right now.
Yeah, absolutely. So Ellis finding another drop going into the last quarter of the map, and the damage is being done despite Boji's best efforts, still holding on to the highest accuracy in the lobby, probably closest behind by Dev, who wasn't here for that first match, but really putting on a show right now in the second match of the weekend for the United States. And it looks like the United States, barring any collapses here at the very end, another drop from Forken is probably going to seal the deal here, as the United States is going to look to pick up their first point to start this match off.
Yeah, an extremely convincing first pick, but, you know, this was banned against them in the previous match for a reason. Not to mention that these 200 counts extremely close overall. That ratio, though, going in the favor of the United States. Dev with that 268 full combo. 989 is an insane score. Boji just barely beating them out with the 990K with the lower 200 count. But Planetarium, an immediate pick coming out from the Philippines side here.
God, I feel like we might be in for a bit of a speed run here. I feel like both these teams are going into this relatively well prepared. I know for sure the Philippines probably has their pick strategy in order. Nothing's going to deviate from that, especially now that the SVs are gone. There's no potential for a wild card pick to get thrown out at them. It's going to be smooth sailing from here, and like you said, Planetarium going to be the first pick from them to try and answer back to the United States' first point.
Definitely, but we did see the United States losing this pretty significantly to Malaysia with their stronger LN roster. Forken, Boji, and Siluska Els, I think, going to be pretty comparable in that case. But, you know, Grip Warrior wasn't available for the earlier match, and that could potentially cause some differences in terms of score. But, you know, it's hard to see Philippines losing this kind of long note pick, especially with how strong these players overall are, especially Boji and Siluska on these long note type picks.
Yeah, so I feel like it's going to be a battle of those players on the bottom row versus the ones on the top. Forken and Tristan Jacob going at it against each other, while the bottom four players just duke it out, trying to see who can hold on to their full combos and the higher accuracy as we get into this second pick of this best of 13.
Early accuracy going a little bit in favor of the United States right now, but just as we hit the 400 combo, looks like the Philippines is able to take that accuracy advantage, especially 99.8s across the board. Tristan Jacob finding the first break for the United States and increasing that lead for Philippines already in this first quarter.
Yeah, absolutely. A repeat of that earlier match with Malaysia. The United States just hanging on the LN picks for as long as they can to try and pose some sort of threat. But right now, it is clearly in favor of the Philippines going into the back half of the map. Another one is not very long in the by any stretch of the imagination, and the density really starts to wear away at your physicality the longer it goes. And as we make it into the back half of the map, A-Sharp going to find another slider job, Tristan Jacob as well. And just like on that Rice pick earlier, the Philippines answering back here. The tables have turned on this LN pick, and they are smooth sailing right now.
Yeah, Boji finding a drop as well, but this lead is so massive right now as we get into the really dense parts that the accuracy of the United States is not helping them keep this lead in check right now. And it looks like the Philippines are just going to start running away with this, just like we saw in the earlier match. The United States LN capability is just not able to keep up with their opponents, and especially with that 99.79 coming out from Siluska Els, matching Grip Warriors accuracy, but backed up by Forken, whereas Grip Warriors FC not quite backed up by Tristan and A-Sharp in the same way. So Philippines will take their first point on this first pick here.
Oh my goodness, what a way to respond. You find some discomfort, some extra misses on that Rice pick, answer back with some LN, diving into that bottom half of the map hole, and what, 1-200 coming out from Siluska Els, and we are in finals, mind you.
Yeah, finals. We saw some of these scores in the previous matches, but I just don't understand. Double full combo from the side of the Philippines, one on the side of the United States. Very impressive scores regardless, but the Philippines clearly looking to have the advantage on long notes. And kill each other. An immediate pick coming out from the United States. We got Rice for the Jack pick.
These teams know what they want. There are no formalities. There's no reason to mess around. They just want to get it done as soon as possible. There is so much on the line for both of these teams, as we were outlining before this match started. There is a podium position on the line here, and both of these teams are probably feeling that pressure right now.
Yeah, that pressure just insane for both sides. We see the chat going pretty crazy just in the match. I think they're on their adrenaline just a little bit. I would be too.
Yeah, absolutely. It's hard. Even the most composed, seasoned player can succumb to just a little bit of nerves once they're in the situation itself. Once you really start to get the gravity of the situation in your head, it's going to be up to these 6 players. Looks like gonna see some substitutions coming out from the United States. Mitter coming in for this pick to back up Grip Warrior and Ace Sharp.
We saw an extremely impressive score coming out from the United States, pretty demonstrably taking out the Malaysian team on this pick in particular earlier. But as we've said before, Philippines is another beast in entirety. They have that kind of balance across the team as we get through this intro for Kill Each Other. And the accuracy is looking pretty strong. Siluesca Elves with a very early drop, but that's going to be a little bit less consequential than if they were to start missing starting right about now as players start hitting the 400 combo mark.
Yeah, absolutely. But with a map like this where things are a little bit less dense, I mean, sure, the core jackability of all the players are probably relatively in line with each other. Misses are going to be huge, especially on a map as short as this, clocking it just over 2 minutes. We're already going into the second third of the map in the United States, holding on to the lead for right now. 99.9s on their side. Boji and Forken doing their best to try and bring Siluesca Elves' score back up. She's already back up into that 99.8 range, looking to try and take out Ace Sharp despite that miss.
Yeah, we're seeing very close accuracies overall. Forken just a little bit behind Grip Warrior, but Siluesca Elza finding that second drop, giving the lead a little bit even further in the favor of the United States. No drops on their side, though the accuracies overall are extremely close together. A pretty unfortunate drop from Elz there right before the break as we get into the faster section. But it's going to take a couple more breaks from the United States if we want to see some kind of score difference here. It looks like the Philippine side may end up having a little bit of a chance to come back. The accuracy is, like I said, very, very close in this lead, not increasing now that Els has hit that 400 combo. But we have 1/4 of the map left. The United States is going to have to hold consistent. But Forken finding a huge drop going into that section, and that just might do it here.
Yeah, absolutely. The writing was starting to be written on the walls. That drop from Forken going into that last transition is probably going to be the nail in the coffin for the Philippines on this pick.
This isn't okay.
We spent so long.
What is that score? 2.991?
995. What? They all wait. Double did. I'm sorry.
200s on the team.
That
2.991. I need to reiterate that. Okay, so Forken, it looks like their keyboard disconnected. It didn't matter. It really did not.
Yeah.
What is that score from the United States?
That Seed 11, by the way. I just want to reiterate that this team is Seed 11.
Seed 11. Slaughter, an immediate pick coming out from the Philippines.
That is unsurprising. You need to take the United States out of their comfort zone.
This is just going to be going back and forth between U.S. comfort zone and U.S. non-comfort zone. I think the Philippines in general is pretty comfortable with pretty much anything that you can throw at them. It's just the United States is so strong at some of these maps, and it's like looking at that Kill Each Other team score, what do you even do against that?
You go into the IRC chat and you just type close. And you just move on. Don't even let it phase you.
Yeah, you can't let it phase you. 70k points doesn't matter. That was close.
Exactly. It's like you just gotta move forward. Just keep sticking with your picks, your strategy. The good thing is that was a United States pick. It would be a whole different story if it were a breakpoint. But that being said, we are going to go into the Philippines' second pick here, the fourth map of this best of 13. It is going to be Slaughter coming out.
It is going to be Slaughter. We saw a pretty impressive score from the Philippines. United States a little bit weaker on these long notes. I would not be surprised to see the Philippines kind of run away with this in the same way that they ran away with Planetarium earlier, but we'll have to see. All six of these players pretty strong overall on the long notes. It's just a matter of keeping that consistency.
Oh, and then right off the bat, Boji finding a slider break here very early on. Not going to make that much of a difference, but it is going to hand the United States just a little bit of a cushion. And I mean, we saw it with Malaysia on that hybrid where they got that break point. They just needed one thing to go their way, and they took it and ran with it. So it'll be interesting to see how the United States performs off that break going into this second quarter of the map.
Unfortunately, in this case, it looks like the Philippines' accuracy is enough to keep up Tristan Jacob falling a little bit behind in comparison to the Philippines players, and that is being enough to give Philippines the score lead going into this break, but this is not going to matter. Ooh, Boji finding another combo break.
That was a client.
Oh, that was client. Sorry, the score needs to catch up a little bit, but regardless, we won't see anything insanely major until we get into the second half. We're about to start approaching it. The only miss coming out from Boji so far in the accuracy definitely in favor of Philippines as we start to transition into the hard part, but I imagine the United States will start faltering just a little bit more as we approach this, but it'll just take time to tell.
Yeah, for sure. And as we make our way into the last third of the map, there's still 3 full combos.
Boji, let's hope that's not a disconnect.
Yeah, let's hope not. But for right now, it is going to look like it's trending in favor of the United States. We might just have a reprise of this section for Boji as they catch up. But right now, as it stands, Tristan Jacob, 4Ken going at it against each other. 4Ken winning that battle. So let's get Els finding a slider break here towards the end of the map. That's going to make things very interesting once we see Boji load back in, hopefully. Grim Warrior now holding on to the highest accuracy here.
Oh, Boji does load back in. Okay, they're not disconnected.
And a slider break from Tristan Jacob here to round map. And Grim Warrior finds a break as well, so any advantage that the United States might have had might have gotten thrown away, so...
Yeah, we're just waiting for Boji's score to catch up. They are far enough, the score is close enough. Boji could definitely do it as long as they hold on.
Oh, and there's a slider break there.
Find a miss. Oh, I don't think we're going to see it, but we're going to get to the ending of the map. I think we're seeing the chat. It does look like Philippines actually did win that pick by 5.6k with Boji kind of catching up towards the end. What? That's kind of scary.
That's terrifying. If Grim Warrior and Tristan Jacob didn't find those slider breaks towards the end of the map, we'd be looking at a very, very different story. But not going to be the case here. The Philippines does tie it up at 2-2.
Indeed, they do. And Ripochi So coming out almost immediately. We're seeing so many quick picks from this. This is definitely a different story from what we've been seeing from the other two matches that we've seen this weekend, with a lot more thought going into it. But I think Philippines and the United States definitely coming into this match with a game plan. They knew what they were going for, and they're going to just go for it because, you don't want to get unwarned while you're waiting in the lobby like this.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially in a high-octane match like this, any sort of opportunity to take the foot off the gas is going to be avoided. The one thing I think of is just stamina for these players. So far, we have played 4 maps, no substitutions from the Philippines so far. Boji, 4Ken, and Celestia Els playing every map so far. It doesn't matter how good you are, that has to wear away at you at a certain point.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty scary to see something like this. We saw a pretty impressive score from the United States earlier, but we've already seen some really close matches already through the first 4 maps of this match, and we've just seen that 5.6k difference for the Philippines on Slaughter. But that has been the closest. Everything else above that 50k mark. But, as we get closer and closer to the end of this match, we're going to start seeing more and more risky maps coming out from both of these teams. And those score differences are going to be very hard to tell the difference between.
Yeah, absolutely. If the United States can keep it close on a pure dedicated map, pure dedicated LN map like Slaughter, if I'm a Philippines fan, I'm very scared of what they can do on the hybrid. Because, there's only 4. There's only 2 left for the Philippines to choose from. But with that being said, that is a discussion for another day. We're going into Reap What You Sow, the United States' third pick here in this best of 13. See if they can continue the trend of insane scores on these rice picks.
Absolutely, we're getting into definitely the fastest map of this pool with a few technical elements throughout. That we saw a few drops coming out from the United States team, though Devin, Grip Warrior were not there for this specific pick earlier on in this weekend. United States holding on to a little bit of an accuracy lead just out of this intro here. So look at L's actually dropping a little bit of accuracy, but not so much that it's going to increase the lead by a huge margin here. Grip Warrior finding the first drop, and that's going to help Philippines take that score lead right away in this first quarter.
Yeah, so a relatively clean draw from Grip Warrior, still holding on to that 99.7 in the United States. As soon as Grip Warrior makes that recovery, is going to be able to take the score lead back just off the fact that there are some Philippine players struggling right now. 4Ken and Soloesca L's in that mid to low 99% range is basically going to be enough to offset that miss from Grip Warrior. Soloesca finds a drop towards the back half of the map, and 4Ken as well.
But they're trading one of those back. The accuracy lead, the only advantage that the United States has right now, that it is equating to about a 15,000 point score lead. As we start getting into the second half, we're about to start seeing the solo where we saw lots of misses start happening in the previous matches. It'll be interesting to see how these players approach that. I expect some misses to come out, but the Philippines definitely need the United States to start dropping here if they want to take this lead back.
Yeah, so with that being said, we have a bit of a battering ram going on for Ken Ellis. Oh my god, Ev and
Double traded back.
It does make a dent, but 4Ken finding another drop going into the last quarter of the map isn't going to help matters here. But that being said, two United States players on the recovery run. Soloesca Ellis and Boji holding on to the combo right now. Boji, very importantly, able to match the accuracy from Grip Warrior, and the fact that Boji is still holding on to that full combo is going to start paying dividends. Mitter finding another drop here. There's still enough time, but 4Ken trades it back.
That is a trade back. Boji holding onto the full combo. The only full combo in the lobby right now, but the accuracy on the side of the United States enough to keep them stable here as we get into the final few bursts. It looks like the United States is going to be able to hold on to this point, but we've started to see some inconsistencies on their side. 4Ken finding another drop here at the end. And it looks like the United States is going to take point number 3 in this match for themselves. But not without some pushback from the Philippines, though it's still about a 60,000 point lead. We're starting to see some inconsistencies, though, from the United States. It'll be interesting to see the future maps that they end up choosing, but the Philippines have the choice to try and even it up. Wait. Grip Warrior, 0-200s. Wait, is that allowed?
At this point, I don't question it. I just have to look away every now and again because I refuse to believe that players can get scores like these, and the Philippines are going to opt to dive back down into that lower half of the map pool. Elemental Creation going to be the pick here to try and keep things even.
Indeed, the Philippines being pretty confident on the long notes. Tristan Jacob coming in. I assume A Sharp also going to be coming in for the United States. We saw them get an incredible FC on this map earlier in the first match. But Philippines feeling confident on the long notes as they have been on the previous two, so I wouldn't be surprised to see them pretty much run away with this, though I wouldn't count the United States out on a pick like this.
For sure, if Slaughter was anything to go by, I mean, the fact that we have Grip Warrior here now to contest these LN picks doesn't make it as smooth sailing, and the fact that it is late in the day, the players are a little bit more warmed up than that early match, at least for the US players. So might lead to some higher scores here. The players are ready. We are going to get into the 6th map of this best of 13. Elemental Creation going to be the pick to try and keep things all square.
They are trying to keep it all square. This is the right kind of pick to go for in that kind of situation. 4Ken, Boji, and L's definitely the kind of players to push that LN advantage forward, though. Like I said, A Sharp having gotten the FC earlier today, Tristan Jacob not doing too bad themselves, and Grip Warrior a phenomenal player in their own right. I could definitely see the United States putting up a fight for this, but the Philippines should have the advantage overall.
Yeah, right out of the introduction, we're going to see the scores flickering just a little bit as the accuracies start to balance out. Tristan Jacob lagging a little bit behind out of the intro at 99.4. Going to be climbing here as the map progresses. Forken not too far behind, 99.7, but right now, advantage Philippines just off the back of the average accuracy, but Grip Warrior 99.85 really making a difference to try and keep this lead in check.
Though that accuracy from Tristan Jacob and a miss, 2 misses from A Sharp are going to help the Philippines hold on to that lead here. Definitely going to be extremely in favor then as we get into the second third of this map. 3 full combos on the side of the Philippines, 2 on the side of the United States, but the accuracy lead also in the favor of the Philippines. Definitely going to increase that lead as we get into the second half here.
Yeah, a bit of a calmer section here for the players to work before we dive back in to the real heavier sections of this map. Give them a chance to catch their breath. It feels like we've been going at a breakneck speed so far. Last third of the map to go, and the Philippines still holding on to the lead, still holding on to the 3 full combos. Can the United States try and mount a comeback? It's going to take a couple of misses from the Philippines here to try and hand them any sort of road back in, but A Sharp's going to be finding a slider break here. Oh, everybody survives the trill.
Everyone survives the trill. A Sharp having drop combo just before it is going to only extend the Philippines lead as we get into the hardest section of the chart. A Sharp finding more breaks. L's trading that one back, but it's not going to be enough to give the lead back to the United States. Tristan Jacob finding aim ace themselves. 2 full combos, 2-1, and the Philippines looking to steal this pick away. Give it to a 3-3 Boji finding a drop, but the lead is so massive now that I think the Philippines is going to take this.
For sure, commanding on the LNs. That being said,
what are those 200 counts for the Philippines? What is that? 4, 5, 7? What?
It's incredible how varied these two teams are in terms of their proficiencies.
Beast with that 990k. Grip Warrior getting the MVP, the 993, but wake we up. Immediately coming out from the United States. We've already been talking about these two teams having plans for this match, and this is only continuing. They know what they want to go with.
Yeah, it's one of those things. The United States opting to live on that top half of the map pool, and the Philippines on that lower half. That being said, there's only one LN map left for them to choose before they have to start diving into those hybrids, and that's really where things are going to be very interesting, I would imagine, as we get deeper and deeper into this match.
The deeper these match goes, the deeper the picks goes, and the more uncomfortable these teams are going to end up being. Wake we up. Number 4 on the United States pick side, and we've already seen some kind of issues with consistency. Philippines definitely going to hopefully start pushing back in terms of the accuracy. We can definitely start seeing some interesting developments coming up as the rice picks get more uncomfortable. We've already started seeing Philippines dropping a little bit. Slaughter only having been won by 5.6 thousand points for the Philippines. So it's already starting to get pretty close in some respects.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, with a pick like this, it is so volatile. Only a minute and a half. There is next to no room for error on a pick like this. A miss, especially when these teams are this close, could be fatal.
Oh, fatality is more than just an upset here. This map is also a minute and a half. It's so short. One miss is everything. One mistake could potentially be everything for this map.
And Boji with the hidden
and mirror, looking a little bit uncomfortable compared to what we might have expected, but Boji, an incredible hidden player that we've seen in the past, looking to just focus on that combo without going super hard in the accuracy. Already seeing a 200, the United States going to take a little bit of an advantage out of the intro off of that, but the Philippines should catch back up pretty quickly as Boji increases their accuracy here.
Yeah, absolutely. This is probably just solely for reading comfort. The streams on this map are so abrasive to read through any semblance. And Zaloska finding a a drop here going into the second third of the map. Gonna hand the US the lead 4 right now. 3 full combos on the side of the United States, 2 for the Philippines going into the back half of the map.
We are going into the back half of the map. That lead looks pretty big for the United States, but it is only 1 combo break here. The accuracy is not too far apart. Grip Warrior finding a combo break on their own here, and that lead is going to start shrinking. The accuracy advantage should be still in favor of the United States, though, as Grip Warrior gets to that 200 combo mark, trying to build up to the 400 before the Philippines takes the lead. This accuracy is still pretty close together.
Yeah, absolutely. The fact that Grip Warrior was able to maintain the accuracy during the recovery run back up to that 400 combo cap, gonna mitigate some of the damage. Forehand finding a break here going into the last sliver of map, and that might just be all she wrote on that potential comeback. It looked a little bit dicey there towards the middle of the map, but the United States, the overall consistency on these rice picks, a little bit too much to handle so far for the Philippines, and the United States retakes the lead, makes it 4-3 now.
Just a little bit. These scores are starting to get closer. The United States looking a little bit more uncomfortable. Even without that 1 miss, it still would have been very, very close. Boji with that 992, Mitter MVPing at that 994, but even then, still extremely close scores. 1 LN map left in the pool for the Philippines to go with. Rip, I think, going to be coming out almost immediately as the pick, as soon as we start seeing it in chat. But these picks are already starting to get very, very close for both teams.
Absolutely. It teeters on a knife's edge. It just comes down to who blinks first in this situation. I feel like the Philippines are starting to feel it just a little bit, this frenetic speed that we have gone at for these first, 8 maps? 7 maps.
7. We'll get into number 8 once Philippines puts a pick in, but
they're probably just taking their time to try and recover some of their stamina, maybe just stretch the fingers out just a little bit. It is very taxing.
Yeah, definitely. We're about halfway through this match. If it goes to its entirety, 7 out of a possible 13 done. Waiting for Els to come back in for the pick. I think, like I said, Rip should be the pick, but we could potentially be seeing a tactical timeout coming out. But Rip does come out here from Els getting that final long note pick. We see the completion for the red squad on this long note pool. Not surprising at all to see coming out of the Philippines.
Yeah, basically a mirror image to the United States' match earlier against Malaysia. Just that entire bottom half of the pool was just littered in red.
It absolutely was. It's continuing here. No swap outs from either team. It looks like A-Sharp, Mitter, and Grip Warrior looking to stay in for the United States. Well, actually, Dev switched out for A-Sharp here for the long note pick. No one on the Philippines side swapping out. Not surprising, Fork and Boji, Els, an extremely strong proponent of the long note side of things as we've seen previously in this match. And that match start command comes in. Philippines looking to even it out, bring it to a best of 5. But they have to win this in order to bring it to that point.
Absolutely. Straying away from the more conventional style of LN picks. We had a couple of LN wildcards, LN density. Now it's time to introduce something a little bit more hellacious in terms of timing, if I do say so myself.
Yeah, hellacious time. Maybe there's like a name for that kind of thing. Maybe there's like this coined term by maybe Juan Crystal that like comes to mind when you think of that.
Nah, it's not coming to me. But with that being said, we are through this first section. Everybody up over that 400 combo cap right now. 6 FCs still on the board. As I say that, HR finding the first slider break here, and that's going to hand the advantage over to Philippines for the moment. And you can tell that the release timings on this map are brutal. Nobody above that 99.7 mark. So Loeska Els and Grip Warrior Mitter finding a slider break. As I say that, going back to my point, Soloweska Els and Grip Warrior holding on highest accuracies in the lobby for right now as we make our way into the second quarter of the map.
And we see A-Sharp finding another drop. Those curses signed and delivered straight to the United States team as we see about a 10,000 point lead in favor of the Philippines team going through this first chorus with a triple full combo on their side. Grip Warrior, the last full combo on the side of the United States, and the accuracy overall favoring the Philippines. 3 players above the 99.4 range. 2 players in the United States, Midder and A Sharp, both below that point. But Boji does find a combo break to trade off one of the earlier ones, though. Like I said, the accuracy definitely going to help Philippines maintain this lead despite that drop.
Yeah, it definitely helps stem the bleeding just a little bit. And with maps that have all these staggered releases, all these short LNs, it makes it very easy to recover from a miss. That being said, A Sharp going into the back half of that, finding another slider break, and that's going to help grow the lead for the Philippines as things start to get a lot more awkward to time here.
Indeed, we're getting to the second chorus. Still 2 full combos to 1, and the Philippines holding on to a lead as Midder finds another drop and only going to extend the Philippines lead before we get into the solo section of the map. And at this point, it's going to take a bit of a collapse from the Philippines side. A Sharp finding yet another drop. Still only the 1 full combo on the side of the United States. Philippines holding on very strong as Boji builds up that combo and the accuracy back to the 99.5 range. We see about a 23,000 point difference, and with this much combo, that's a huge difference.
Absolutely, one of the longest maps in this pool that's not the tiebreaker. Definitely allows for these leads to get a little bit out of hand, especially if one team starts to find the breaks and the other one holds the consistency. And as we make our way into the last sliver of map, I mean, like you were saying, it's going to take a collapse from the Philippines, but right now, Midder finding another slider break is going to help the matters here for the United States. And it looks like the Philippines are en route to make a clean sweep of this LN section of the map pool, going 4 for 4 to get all 4 of their points here.
Yeah, we've seen a clean sweep on both sides. No breakpoints so far. The Philippines looking very strong on long notes. United States looking extremely strong on the rice picks. But now we're starting to get a little bit more risky. Philippines out of long note picks. They're going to have to dig into the hybrids to start pushing this match. And the United States, we just saw a 19,000 point lead versus the 60 and 70,000 point leads they were having before. So again, a little bit more uncomfortable. I think writing on the walls is going to be coming out immediately from the United States. Want to avoid the straightforward jump stream and accuracy picks, because that's where Philippines is really going to be able to start pulling their leads back out of. But it's going to be really interesting. Ooh, but we see Venomous Firefly before writing on the walls. I'm so interested to see this.
Oh boy, this is quite the pick here.
I'm worried about this pick. I'm going to say that right now.
As this map pool starts to dwindle, these picks get so much riskier. Like I mean, to be fair, in order to win a match outright, you have to take risks. The only thing for the United States that gives me some sort of solace is the fact that their overall rice accuracy has just been phenomenal so far this round. That it's really going to take a Herculean effort from the Philippines to try and match the scores that the United States has been putting out. So, I mean, it could have been worse. They could have gone completely off script and just gone for a hybrid or something.
I don't think the US would have like the cojones,
no,
so to speak, to do that.
There is no world in which it was ever advisable for them to go for hybrid.
They have a maximum of 2 picks left in this match, and they have 3 rice picks remaining. Venomous Firefly going to be one of them, going into this pick, hoping to bring it 5-4 in their favor. But Philippines starting to get closer and closer to taking that breakpoint on the rice side of things. Looking to take the first breakpoint in this match, but they're going to have to put up some more. Boji again with the hidden as things start getting a little bit faster.
Yeah, I mean, it worked out well for them on the dedicated speed pick earlier. Highest score for the Philippines, so definitely just a bit of reading comfort for them here. And right now, it is virtually neck and neck going through these first couple of bursts here.
We're seeing a small accuracy lead in the favor of the United States. L's finding a little bit of an accuracy drop there, but not too far behind. All 6 players still holding onto the full combo. It's just about keeping those accuracies strong, though. Lowest on the side of the United States is Grip Warrior at the 99.82. OG and Forken still holding up close to that. L's just a little bit behind on that. As long as they're able to keep the full combo, it should be okay, but United States starting to run away a little bit with the score, but Grip Warrior finding a combo break there.
Yeah, going into the back half of the map, arguably one of the worst places to miss, but right now, backed up by Mitter and Dev, gonna mitigate some of the damage as we get into a tiny bit of a break section. As much of a break as a map like this can give you, and as we make our way into the last of the map, the bursts start to come back, and it just hits you non-stop. The jump streams are back, and Mitter finding a break here.
We still have 3 full combos inside the Philippines. Mitter and Group Warrior both having found breaks. That's 1, 2, 3. United States still having a significant accuracy advantage. Mitter trying to get back into that 400 combo before the end. Looks like the United States is going to be able to hold on to the lead in this ending off the accuracy lead alone, but we still have a little bit left to go.
Yeah, last sliver of map. With that being said, if you can read your way through the earlier parts, this one shouldn't give you that much of an issue. But that being said, the United States hangs on. It got a little bit dicey there.
Oh, accuracy, man. That is a triple full combo on the side of the Philippines, but it's not going to be enough off of the insane accuracies from the United States.
That's a V1SS from Dev as well to really cap off that performance.
That's a V1SS from Dev and Boji. 2 insane scores.
I need to ask again. We're in finals, right?
We are in finals, right? That's what I thought too. Grip Warrior and Forken both having 2. It's just the difference between L's and Mitter there that gave United States the advantage.
Yeah, for sure. And for right now, I mean, what do you do if you are the Philippines here in terms of what you pick? I mean, it has to be hybrids.
Oh yeah, absolutely it has to be hybrid. Maybe a retrospective comes out here, but a timeout makes perfect sense.
Yeah, absolutely. The LNs are gone. You have to really make sure. This was a point in the match that the United States found their breakpoint against Malaysia to really turn the screw on the proceedings there. So Philippines, ultimately the most important pick of their tournament lives, dare I say.
Yeah. No, well, this is the same situation that Malaysia was in earlier in this weekend. They were at around this 5. I think it was 4-4, and Malaysia picked a hybrid, lost it, and then the United States brought it to a 6-4 point. You know, where Malaysia just couldn't end up bringing it back. Philippines needs to make sure they bring this back. They do not want to push this to a tiebreaker point with the United States. The United States has shown so often that they're so strong in these late stages of the match, especially on tiebreakers.
Yeah, for sure. Just a raw physicality that some of these players possess. So I marveled at, I mean, watching along, just consistently having your mind blown at the scores that they're able to put up. I mean, all 6 of these players have been putting up incredible performances so far.
They absolutely have been. I'm kind of interested to see what Philippines decides to go with. I think ooh, sorry about that. But I think as far as like long note based maps go, I think retrospective might be the best option. I'm surprised to see that they ended up banning one of the SV picks. So I think that would have been a very good opportunity for Philippines to push for a point.
Yeah, absolutely. The United States on SVs so far this tournament, not finding the best of times there.
Ooh,
so
Philippines making the same decision as Malaysia. Mushi no Sumu. Going for hybrid 2. Scary pick.
Very scary, especially with the results from earlier today. So very much the most important pick for the Philippines here. Everything has to go right.
Everything definitely does have to go right. Looking for Philippines to hold on to this even match. No breakpoints, 9 maps in. We hear the map and song starting to change.
Yeah, meanwhile, gonna take care of a couple of technical difficulties in the background. Pay no attention
Hey,
to what
well,
is
while we have these technical difficulties, why don't we try to shill a little bit? I think that'd be a great idea.
Oh,
Well,
absolutely.
while we have the opportunity, buy your banners. What are banners great for, Sparky? I need you to tell me what they're great for.
Banners are great for showing your support for any of the countries that have participated so far during this 4-key World Cup. It also increases the prize pool for the podium finishers of this tournament. And I mean, these two are duking it out, the Philippines and the United States, to try and get themselves on that last podium position. The color of which not determined just yet. That'll be for next weekend, but it looks like we're back. We are going to get into Hybrid 2 here, see if the Philippines can maintain the pace and keep things all square here, or if the United States can repeat their fortunes from earlier today and find that crucial breakpoint to really throw a monkey wrench in this match.
We certainly will see that coming up. We see this intro coming out. The United States looking like they have a little bit of a lead, but not by a whole lot. These accuracies being very close overall. Boji and Els with 99.8. Group Warrior and A-Sharp matching there. Mitter and Forken being the odd ones out at that lower 99.6 range. A-Sharp finding the first combo break, though, just before the 400 combo mark, but it's so close that I don't think it's going to matter in terms of the impact of the miss. And right before the break, it's definitely going to help the Philippines hold on to a little bit of a lead and build it up in terms of the accuracy.
Yeah, absolutely. And now we flip the script just a little bit. It's Mitter going up against Boji, Soloska Els going up against Grip Warrior, and Forken going with A-Sharp going into the second quarter of the map. A-Sharp building up their accuracy back up over that 400 combo cap, going to be able to get full credit for their judgments moving forward and going to be able to make some inroads in this lead so far. Going into the second third, we see that red bar shrinking ever so slightly as the United States mounts their charge here.
We see that accuracy from Grip Warrior, 99.82, looking to bring that lead back. Boji the highest on the side of the Philippines, along with Silaska Els, both at 71 on the 99% accuracy. Very close together, but the three full combos proving to be too much for the United States to handle right now. But this lead is so close as we get into this this section. We saw Chiwi earlier finding a little bit of a break. I could definitely see some players in this faster speed section finding some issues. We'll have to see, but no breaks. I'm so scared. Is that real? Is that real? I saw some lag there. I don't trust it yet.
I don't trust it either, but going into the last third of the map, I don't... Oh,
no,
there we go.
It's not real. It's not real. It's three full combos on the side of the Philippines.
But the accuracy is in favor of the United States.
Is it? I'm still waiting for the score to reset.
It's to be determined, but for right now, working with the information that we have, the United States has a tiny sliver of a lead going into the last quarter of the map, just based on the raw accuracy. Forken finding a bit of an accuracy drop in that last section, down to that 99.58 range. That might be the catalyst for this comeback that the United States is finding. But
that might be lag. That might be client. I don't know what to expect. We saw some 200s there as well. It's back up over. Mitter has the combo, but it's so close right now. No, but that might be a real miss by Forken in this ending. I don't know what's happening.
We can trust nothing. It's going to come down to...
Silaska Els has the internet. The entire United States back. Forken back as well. Waiting for Boji. Is that a real miss from Els?
It is still to be determined. I dare not say anything. It's going to come down to... I love the fact that Boji had a client miss for him and still hold on to the full combo. That's just how powerful they are. And right now, as it slides over,
looks like the United States is actually going to take that pick, and they do.
Oh my goodness!
It's going to be 6-4. United States has their own pick here going in. Match point. Same situation that they were in against Malaysia. They have a few options available.
And they don't have to take a detour through the SV picks in this map pool. They've both been banned out. The United States, masters of their own destiny right now. They just need to find the pick to seal the deal here. Philippines fighting for their tournament lives, and the writing is on the walls. It is going to be writing on the walls. I'm at a loss for words. This has been
too.
an electrifying performance from these two countries. They have been going back and forth, and just like earlier, it's coming down to these hybrids. And right now we're just waiting to see who comes in for the United States to contest this pick. You would imagine it'd be Dev and Grip Warrior, probably Grip Warrior leaving
Yeah.
to double check their mods, see if they click this with mirror or not, try and double check the scroll speed. This is the most important pick now for the United States. You want to capitalize on this breakpoint as soon as possible, and there's only one opportunity to do it. It's to take the match.
It is to take the match, but Philippines, if they have anything to say about this, we've seen some pretty close rice scores already throughout this match. This is the United States' final pick in this match. No matter what happens, they will either win this and move on to the top 3 grand final stage, or Philippines will take this map and get an opportunity to pick the 12th in this match, looking for that tiebreaker situation.
For sure, and it looks like it's going to be A Sharp and Dev, maybe giving Grip Warrior a bit of a break here. They have been playing every map so far for the United States. The Philippines not having the luxury of substitutions by the looks of it for this match. It has been for Ken Boji and Soloeska Els putting up the stand here against the United States.
An extremely scary situation, no matter who you are.
The true test of the nerve of all players involved. It is so stressful, especially in this situation on both sides. For the United States, you want to close this out as soon as possible. You do not want to give that breakpoint back. If you are the Philippines, you're staring down, having to force the tiebreaker here and do not the impossible, but dare I say the improbable, and take a breakpoint against the United States on late game rice picks. That being said, just double checking to make sure that everybody is ready. Probably just some last minute things being asked, some confirmations.
Interesting not to see Grip Warrior coming in for this pick, but A Sharp, Dev, and Mid are an extremely solid team themselves.
For sure. It looks like the MP settings does come out. Just another double check. You want to make sure that the players aren't stalling as well, especially since they have been playing for as long as they have, maybe trying to eke out some extra time. And, oh, it looks like it might have just been some connection issues, seeing all of Soloeska Els' messages come in all at once.
Yeah, definitely some internet issues coming out there, but not going to be as important once we start seeing that start command.
Final text here, and oh my goodness, imagine the nerves. The MP start command goes out. It is going to be Boji for Ken and Soloeska Els. Tournament lives on the line, going up against Midder, A Sharp, and Dev, who are on the precipice of punching their ticket into the grand finals. Boji once again with the hidden. I mean, it's been working out for them. Don't fix it if it ain't broken.
We got some more hidden in mirror, like you said. Don't fix it if it ain't broken. Boji been playing extremely well. Els and Forken looking to push their accuracies above the norm. United States holding on to a little bit of an accuracy lead through this intro, all above 99.9. A Sharp dropping a little bit below now, but still not quite as much as you might expect. This already above 400, but A Sharp finding the first combo break. Philippines all holding full combos. A Sharp with a second drop. that lead starting to extend a little bit more in favor of the Philippines here.
Yeah, it's looking good for them going into the second quarter of the map. Quite a bit of an accuracy drop from A-Sharp, but so let's go. Elzef trades it back here. That being said, it's not enough to hand the lead immediately back. Both of them still not over that 400 combo cap. A-Sharp just barely making it now. Gonna be able to make some dent in this lead, but for right now, still on the side of Philippines.
Ella's approaching that 400 combo, but it looks like it might just be in the favor of the United States, but it's so close that it actually probably doesn't even matter. It's so close right now. The United States looks like they have the very, very slight lead, but we've already seen a break from the A-Sharp, 2 of them actually, but it's 2 full combos to 2 on both sides in this lead. It's so close that anything can happen.
Yeah, and it's this bottom half of the screen battering ram that is Mitter and Dev holding the forts down for the United States. 99.88 apiece. Next closest for the Philippines is Boji and Forken, both of them in that high 99.7 range, trying to make some inroads in terms of that accuracy. They're keeping it close. Right now it's Zaloska Els and A-Sharp going at it against each other. Last quarter of the map still to go. And right now, advantage USA is the tiniest of leads, though. Nothing to rest your laurels on.
It's 2,000 points. One miss is more than enough to give this over. We didn't see any from the United States earlier when they picked this against Malaysia, but anything can happen. There's plenty of patterns left. There's just... I'm so nervous.
I'm nervous for both of these teams. And Forken finding a couple of 200s on that break section before things dive back in. Last sliver of map left to go. It's do or die time for the Philippines. There's not a lot of map left. The United States still has a lead. A break at the very end. Oh, is that enough? And the United States is going to take it 7-4.
What just happened?
That is a near tie from Mitter and Dev, 995,000 apiece. What a way to cap off an incredible performance. To take it and punch your ticket into the grand finals. The Philippines falling just short, gonna be finishing in 4th place in this finals weekend. A collective deep breath must be taken. Congratulations.
I had to breathe for the last 5, 10, 15, 30 seconds. That is unbelievable.
The 11th seed, United States, is in the grand finals, in the losers bracket, punching a podium position guaranteed at the expense of the Philippines. Commiserations to them. They did everything in their power with the resources that they had to make it this far. Will be our 4th place finishers. But yes. Toph, we're not done with this weekend just yet. This block is over.
Definitely aren't done with this weekend. That just locks down our top 3. A pretty classic top 3. Honestly, if you kind of look at it, United States, South Korea, and Brazil. This was the top 3 that has plagued MWC 4Key for so long, and we saw it kind of change between 2020 and 2021, but it's back yet again. United States showing their strengths, getting that top 3 position. Brazil and South Korea in that winners bracket match. Still to be had to determine who takes the winner side of the grand finals and who is going to have to fight the United States to push themselves into the top 2 position. But
wow, that's all we can say here from the commentary booth. Join us again in 9 hours at 14 UTC as we determine who solidifies a guaranteed top 2 position as Brazil takes on South Korea. And Toph.
Absolutely. I mean, we already talked a little bit about banners, but I kind of need to ask you one more question. But is there any other way? Banners are great. but like there has to be something else that I can do to support this tournament, right?
Well, there is absolutely something else you can do. You can head on over to the Open Collective, an initiative we have going on for the Osmania 4 Key World Cup 2022, where if $2.50 is not enough for you to want to donate and you are a generous benefactor of anything related to Mania, you can donate as much or as little as you'd like to the overall prize pool for the remaining countries in this tournament.
Absolutely. I don't think there's really much else to say. We've got one more match left to finals. We have two things left to show off. Brazil versus South Korea coming up at 14 UTC. My bad. But just a couple hours after that, once that match starts, pretty much immediately after that match, we'll be immediately going into a very special showcase, Grand Finals. We have 3 teams left: United States, Brazil, South Korea. Those 3 teams will be facing off against one more map pool. And once we see the winner between Brazil and South Korea, we'll be able to have the opportunity to show that off to all of you guys. And it's, you know, personally speaking, as someone who knows what the pools look like, it's not something you're going to want to miss. So come back 9 hours from now at 14 UTC to make sure you make the Brazil and South Korea matchup, but also to show up to the Grand Finals Map Pool Showcase. I really hope to see you all there. Take some breaks, but make sure to come back. We'll see you then.
Have a good one.